Well, if you love God and guns and the Second Amendment, you love our country, and you're sick and tired of what the radical left is trying to do to our country, this video is for you. In this short video, I'm going to talk about the two candidates who are running to be your Republican nominee in the August 2nd Republican primary for House District 98. All right, gang, thanks for watching. I'm Chris Dorr. I'm the director here for Ohio Gun Owners. The left is going insane. They're trying to pass massive federal gun control bills. They're trying to pass state-level gun control bills. They're destroying our economy. They're destroying our schools in the attempt to indoctrinate the next generation. And that's why who we choose to represent us at the State House in Columbus is so very important now. Are they going to stand up and fight back against the left? Or do they have the courage to stand up to the fake news media, because they will come under attack? Or are they simply going to be lackeys for the party bosses, the same party bosses that have gotten us into such deep water as a state? Those are important questions that gun owners deserve to know the answers to before they go to the ballot box and cast their votes. So every election cycle, Ohio Gun Owners issues a candidate survey to all of the candidates running for the Ohio General Assembly, and we ask them the tough questions that we know they're going to face if they get elected, on the pro-gun side and on the anti-gun side. Now, let's talk about House District 98. We're talking about Northeast Ohio here, Knox, Coshocton, and Holmes County. I think some of the population centers would be Mount Vernon, Coshocton, Millersburg, Danville. These are some of the population bases. But we have Scott Pullins is running against incumbent Darrell Kick. Let's just jump right into it right away. Red flag gun confiscation is going to be one of the biggest issues that comes before the Ohio General Assembly next year in 2023. The reason why is because the federal government, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they just passed a massive federal funding bill that bribes the states that pass their own red flag gun confiscation laws. This is going to be one of the biggest issues that gun owners face. We asked Scott Pullins, are you going to vote for that, or are you going to vote no on that? And he said no. He gets a green check mark. You know what? I'm going to make that green check mark a little bigger. Looks like it got erased there a little bit. He answered that one absolutely hell no. And that's a good thing, because for those of you who don't know what red flag gun confiscation laws are, these laws allow almost anybody to go and petition a court, and increasingly our courts are full of liberal activist judges. So it allows people to go before these activist judges and petition them to have your gun rights taken away from you. And if the judge agrees, you can have your firearms confiscated, your Second Amendment freedoms destroyed without you ever being charged, tried, or convicted of a crime. It's the total destruction of due process for gun owners. Scott Pullins, hell no on red flags. He gets a green check mark. He answered that one 100%. Stand your ground and constitutional carry expansions. The versions that we have of this law on the books right now are bare bones. They're nowhere near what they need to be. We are trying very hard to expand those to be the full-orbed self-defense laws that Ohio gun owners deserve. And we asked Scott, will you support that stuff? He said, absolutely, I will. Gets 2 more green check marks. We asked him if he's going to vote against the assault weapons ban, the AR-15 ban that the Democrats have introduced in Columbus. He said, yes, I will vote against that stuff. We asked him if he would oppose the universal gun registration stuff that Bloomberg's lying commie mommies are trying to pass. They want to track, trace, and register gun owners like we're sex offenders. It's the ultimate goal there is to be able to confiscate our guns someday. Scott Pullins, he says, absolutely, I will vote against that garbage day in and day out. He answered his candidate survey 100% in favor of your gun rights. And in addition to that, we noticed that when we were doing a little research on Scott, we also noticed that he stands for medical freedom. There's so much intertwining now between the gun rights issue and these freedom issues. He stood strong for the medical freedom stuff, House Bill 248 and things like that. He stood strong against the shutdowns. Folks, we're seeing our government getting increasingly tyrannical with every day that goes by. Scott Pullins answered our survey 100%. He's good on those issues. That is fantastic news for gun owners trying to make a decision in House District 98. But let's talk about Darrell Kick here for just a minute, because he's got a record. He's the incumbent. And I want to explain a few things to you. Number one, we don't know where he is on the issue of red flags gun confiscation. He refused to answer that question on the Ohio Gun Owners Survey. He also refused to answer a couple more of the questions about assault weapons bans, and the expansion of the pro-gun laws that we have on the books. So that was very alarming. When somebody at election time won't tell you where they stand on certain issues, it's a great big red flag. And we thought you guys should know about it. He also voted yes on House Bill 123, and this is particularly bad. What this bill did was it funded gun control organizations like Sandy Hook Promise and Moms Demand Action to go into our schools and indoctrinate our schools by teaching social inclusion programming. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. It's stolen straight out of the Communist Manifesto. Indoctrinate the kids, drive a wedge in, teach them to hate the Founding Fathers, teach them to hate the history of our country, to hate their heritage, and that's how you can control a population. He voted for that garbage. We could hardly even believe it as we watched it happen. Darrell Kick voted for that stuff. Back in 2018, we're getting a little far back here, but he voted to gut House Bill 228 back in 2018. That bill was trying to repeal Ohio's duty to retreat law back then. We didn't have stand your ground at the time. He voted with the gun grabbers to peel that portion back out of it that would have repealed Ohio's duty to retreat law. Awful stuff. It's exactly what the Democrats wanted him to do. And he voted for that garbage to gut those beautiful pieces of pro-gun legislation. More recently, when constitutional carry was on the floor, we were trying to change Ohio from a concealed handgun license system to a concealed weapons license system. We don't believe that the state should be deciding what legally owned tools you can defend yourself with. He voted against that. In order to try to prevent you from using whatever legal tools that you own to defend yourself. It's ridiculous, and it's exactly, again, what the Democrats wanted him to do. Now, when you run into Darrell, he's kind of a nice guy. But folks, it's 2022. It'll be 2023 before you know it. We've had a series of nice guys that have been delivering nothing but victories and wins for the radical left because they don't have the courage of their conviction to stand up and fight back. So if you see Darrell on the campaign trail, tell him to apologize for this record here of deliberately voting against our gun rights. Yes, we beat on people like Darrell so hard, politically speaking for the humor impaired, that we did force him to vote yes on constitutional carry. That was a good thing. But he needs to apologize for this dedicated career and list of voting against our gun rights. It's unacceptable for Republicans ever again to make compromises with the radical left on gun control. The time for that is over and done. We need to take our country back from these cultural Marxists who are trying to destroy it. So tell Darrell to apologize for siding with the left so frequently. If you see Scott Pullins on the campaign trail, thank him for being willing to go on record in favor of your gun rights, to be able to go on record against red flag gun confiscation in particular. It's going to be a huge issue in the 2023 session of the Ohio General Assembly. It's good that Scott Pullins is on board on that. Last but not least, folks, like I've said a couple times now, the left is trying to destroy our country. We need to stand up and fight back against that if we're going to save this country. So share this video with everybody you know, and then on August 2nd, round up everybody you know and go to the polls and vote pro-gun.